Hi everyone and welcome back. I hope everyone is okay. In today's episode, I want to talk about a short animated film that I truly love and keep returning to, Hair Love by Matthew Cherry. It's a very short film, just a few minutes long, but somehow it carries so much emotional weight and cultural meaning. And I think that's exactly what makes it so powerful. It reminds us that storytelling doesn't always need length or complexity to create a deep impact. At its core, the story is very simple. A father is trying to do his daughter's hair for the first time. That's it. But within this everyday moment, the film opens up much larger conversations about identity, care, and representation. What I find especially meaningful is how the film approaches hair, not just as something visual or aesthetic, but as something deeply connected to identity and self expression. In the context of Black culture, hair has always carried historical, social, and political significance. It has been shaped by dominant beauty standards, by pressure to conform, and by ongoing struggles around visibility and acceptance. So when we see this little girl embracing her natural hair, and when we see her father learning how to care for it, it becomes more than just a routine movement. It becomes an act of affirmation, an act of love. And I think this is where the emotional depth of the film really emerges. Because the father is not perfect. He struggles. He doesn't know what he is doing at first. But he tries. He watches, he learns, he fails, and he tries again. And that process itself is so important. It presents a model of fatherhood that is patient, emotionally present, and deeply caring. From a more academic perspective, we might say that the film challenges traditional constructions of masculinity. Care work, something often associated with femininity, is centered here within a male figure, and not in a dramatic or exaggerated way, but in a very natural, everyday way. At the same time, the mother's presence adds another emotional layer to the narrative. Even though she is physically absent for much of the film, she is still there. Through memory, through guidance, through the videos she leaves behind, there is a quiet sense of resilience in that love continues even in absence. And I think that's one of the most touching aspects of the film. If we think about it in terms of media representation, hair love also becomes very significant. For a long time, mainstream animation has not offered enough space for Black families to be represented in such intimate, ordinary, and human ways. When representation did exist, it was often limited or stereotypical, unfortunately. But here we see something different. We see softness, we see vulnerability, we see care, and these are presented not as exceptions, but as normal, everyday realities. And I think visibility at this level really matters, especially for children. Because when children see themselves reflected in stories, in their hair, in their families, in their daily lives, it shapes how they understand themselves. It contributes to a sense of belonging, a sense of being seen. Personally, what I appreciate most about this film is sincerity. It doesn't try to over explain anything, it doesn't feel forced. It just tells a story very gently, very honestly. And that honesty is what makes it so impactful, I think. Also, every time I watch it, I notice something new. Sometimes it's the emotional expressions, sometimes it's the small gestures, sometimes it is the silence between moments. It's one of the rare pieces where simplicity actually cares, creates depth. So if you haven't watched Hair Love, I really recommend it. And even if you have maybe watched it again, slightly a little different perspective. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode. Bye.